and I am currently sat here facing, well, I thought it was going to be Sylvester McCoy, but it seems to be the latest Doctor Who monster.
Yeah, this is not a monster. This is not a fantasy. This is fact. This is life. This is our future. This is me, anyway. But that's, sadly, we're going to have to wear those masks. Well, except I'm in France, and in France, we're going to be told we must wear masks all the time. In England, you're not being told that. That's because someone hasn't done their job properly and ordered enough masks for the country.
Absolutely. I was watching the news this morning, and I think they're going to advise that we cover our faces with scarves or homemade masks, but not use.
Yeah, well, Doctor number 4 will be he'll be all right. He's got a big scarf. Actually, he could share it with a few people, couldn't he? He could walk down, as long as there's 6 feet on either side. You could have 3 people, he in the middle, and 2 other people, companions on the other side. Then they could go and save the world with that.
That would work. That would work. So, how are you keeping yourself entertained during lockdown?
Well, I'm not finding it boring at all, really. I get up in the morning. I'm in France. I have a croissant and coffee. I read the papers online. Then I go for a walk. We have to. We're only allowed to go for 1 kilometer away from our house, and we are only allowed to go for 1 hour. And we have a little form on our phone here that you tap in, and it puts the time when you leave your house. It's quite strict, really. But luckily, I'm in the countryside, and I've got lots of woods and walks where the gendarmerie do not go. So one kind of goes and walks around a bit, meet friends, do a lot of, Zooming.
Yes.
Zoom here, Zoom there, Zoom everywhere. Catching up with loads of people I haven't had time to catch up with, because in my real life, I've been Zooming all the time. I'm continuously Zooming on planes, trains, boats, and, whatever else. So it's catching up. It's been good. I have quite enjoyed it. And I've also quite enjoyed slowing down, because I've had a hectic life.
I can relate to you there as well. I think, although it's strange as it may be to be in lockdown, it is really relaxing, and it is nice to catch up with some reading and just sit in the sun here in the UK. It's been lovely weather for the last 4 weeks. That's been perfect. It seems totally appropriate to be talking to Doctor Who through this sort of science fiction link. I feel like you should be berating me about unlimited rice pudding at this moment.
All right. Yes. Well, why not? The problem is trying to get rice pudding in France is a bit difficult. Oh, someone's phoning me. Oh, it's my son. Can I just tell him I'll call him back?
Go ahead.
That's it. Where are you? Where are you, Sam? Oh, there you are. Hello. Hey, Sam. I'm doing a Zoom thing.
Hello.
With John. Yeah. So I'll phone you back later.
All right, man. I'll leave you to it.
Yeah. Bye. Tot ziens. Dag. He's in Holland. I'm in France. You're in England.
I know. Very international. Funny enough, that leads perfectly into what I wanted to talk to you about next. Last time I saw you was in a green room in Derby, and you'd just come back from an adventure going overland to Thailand, if I remember correctly.
Yes. It was. I just finished a run of a play at the Edinburgh Festival. Jumped on the train from Edinburgh to London. 2 days later, I was on a train from London to Paris, Paris to Moscow, Moscow to Mongolia, Mongolia to China, and then from Beijing down to Nanning, and then Nanning down to Hanoi, and then from Hanoi to Thailand, to Bangkok. And I wanted to do it because I travel a lot, and I felt guilty about my, mileage, and B, my granddaughter, my very first grandchild, was arriving in Bangkok, and if I timed it rightly, I'd be there a week after she had been born, and it worked out that way. So my, it was kind of, I wanted to make it a special year, a special adventure. It's great.
So how long did it take you in total to get down there?
Well, it took me 6 weeks. because I stopped off obviously on the way. I wanted to, to go straight there would be quite daunting. But also, I wanted to explore places which I've never been to.
And
The capital of Mongolia was quite fascinating and interesting because it was a mixture of China, Russia, Mongolia. The architecture was fascinating because it was all representing those various different pressures that were on the country.
You clearly travelled through some areas that are renowned for amazing cuisine. Thailand itself, Vietnam, China.
Oh yeah.
Are you an adventurous eater?
Yeah, I am. Yes. No, I've seen that you have to eat local. And no, I mean the Vietnamese. I must say, if you ask me about my favourite place, I think it would be Hanoi. I loved Hanoi because it still had that kind of. Everyone were running around on motorbikes and not that many cars. People were still, you didn't feel too westernized. I think I didn't get to the south where I think it's much more advanced, or so-called, if you call our present way of living advanced. Whereas in Hanoi it was much more ethnic and you felt as if you were in a foreign place. I like to be in places that I feel foreign.
I remember in that chat we had in Derby, we were sort of exchanging notes because I'd done something similar for 20 years ago. I backpacked around Southeast Asia, and we were talking about the traffic in Hanoi. And you have to be very brave to cross the road, don't you, in Vietnam?
Yes, you have to really. I mean, the thing is, they won't hit you. I mean, that's what I watched, and I just you just walk out. And especially if you're old as well, because then they respect old age. I mean, it's just quite wonderful the way they respect old age. And whereas in our country, we just, lock everyone up when they get over a certain age. Throw away the key, it seems to me. But I've been traveling all over the world, and I'm used to. It's the same in Thailand and the same in Cambodia. You just walk out and just don't focus on where you want to get to. Keep your eyes on that and just walk across. I was in India as well. They just you just walk across, and the only thing you've got to worry about if you're crossing the road is an elephant may come along, but it won't run you over because elephants are nice.
And along the way on your trip, I was very impressed that you actually managed to meet up with various fans who had got wind of the fact you were out there.
Yeah, that was an unexpected bonus, I presume. Yes, because I'm not really au fait with Facebook and Twitter and all that. I have those accounts, but I stand back from them because when I go home, I like to close the door and that's it. I've left the outside world and I carry on with my inside world. And so not knowing about Twitter, I was putting out little films and little messages to my agent and to my sons, to let them know where I was. Unbeknown to me, my agent was putting them online. And then, so people discovered what I was doing. And then suddenly I got into Eastern Russia, Siberia, and I stopped at this station and there was a Dalek to greet me. And then I thought, yes, of course, Siberia, that's a logical place for Daleks to come from, or be sent to, really. And there was Doctor Who fans, and there were Hobbit fans. It was just quite wonderful, really. Just, but unexpected. It wasn't my intention that in a way, my intention was to become anonymous, really, in my travels. That's another thing I like about traveling off grid, as it were, is one becomes anonymous and no one knows who you are.
Obviously, when you took over.
Oh, yes, no, so sorry, but I did. Yes, there was something that was really delightful. Sadly, I'd left Hanoi, but a message had come through. And they thought I was still there, saying, "Hello, if you're still in Hanoi, do come to our cafe. It's the TARDIS Cafe." And they showed me a photograph, and there's a cafe there with the TARDIS on top of it in Hanoi, in Vietnam. That delighted me. I was really sad I hadn't known about that. I would have gone along to visit. I mean,
Oh, so you missed that one.
I missed that. So I have to go back again because I did like Hanoi so much. And I have to hunt out that TARDIS cafe in Vietnam. How wonderful.
So you're hoping that once lockdown's over and hopefully life returns to normal, you'll be out doing other major adventures and more traveling.
Yeah, I hope so. Although who knows what the future is for travel, really. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I had a gig in Australia. That's been put off until January. Who knows if I can go to Australia? America, I had lots of jobs to do there, and in Britain. I was going to do a film with that's been not cancelled but put off. So who knows what the future will bring when it all stops, or it might just dribble. You know, I don't know. It won't be a clean switch from this to that. I think it will just be. Might be difficult to travel anyway. I was just reading the French Prime Minister saying that he said that he didn't think holiday travel in July and August to France would be easy from people from other countries, meaning that they wouldn't make it easy for people to come here. So who knows? This dude doesn't.
One production company that is still in business in the creative industry is, of course, Big Finish. I gather they are still managing to record some work.
Oh, great! That's good. Yeah.
The
food is good.
So, do you have facilities where you are to record anything for them? Do you have any recording equipment?
No, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm way up on top of a mountain in France, a medieval mountain, a medieval village as well. And at night time, when it's all dark, if you listen very carefully, you can hear a tumbrel going down the street of the cobbled streets, and a bell ringing, and a voice saying, "Bring out your dead, bring out your dead." At night time, it really is. You feel that you've travelled back in time to the era of the Black Death. It's kind of weird.
Hey, we all feel like that at the moment, quite frankly.
Yes.
In happier notes,
Yes.
It's an obvious question to ask an actor that played a Time Lord, but where would you like to travel to if you had a time machine?
Where would I like to travel to if I had a time machine? Oh, a world where mankind lived in kind of friendship with the world, with nature. Really, a place where we'd worked out how best to live. That we don't need vast things. There was in the 60s there used to be a book came out called Small is Beautiful, and it was very popular amongst we hippies, and it was all about how small farmers, everything controllable was a better way to live. No one took any notice of it. And I think we're going to have to try and do that, really. And I'd like to travel to that place that had succeeded.
It must be gratifying for you to see some of the clips I've seen from around the world of nature returning. For instance, the dolphins in the canals in Venice.
Yes,
animals encroaching back into man's territory.
Yes, that's great, isn't it? It's really wonderful. And also, I mean, I've been speaking to friends in London. And there's one friend who's been in London. He came down from Yorkshire an actor called David, and he said, I didn't know there were birds in London. You know, suddenly, and someone said they heard a nightingale, they thought, recently in London. I mean, here where I am, up on top of my little mountain, there's a huge forest around, and the birds are just going completely bananas. But then they'd be going bananas anyway, because the air is fresh, and, you know, they're out there welcoming spring, you know, singing away, welcoming spring. It's lovely.
Well, I'm in Birmingham. I live in Birmingham, in Moseley. And I've suddenly noticed on social media, my neighbours and friends in the city have all been commenting how many seagulls have suddenly descended on Birmingham. We could be further away from the sea if we tried.
Well, that usually, when I grew up, because I grew up by the sea, we were told that if seagulls went inland, that meant a storm was coming.
Oh,
Or
it's
the
already
storm was
here.
arriving. Yes. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. But I mean, I don't think it's a joyful thing that seagulls come because, A, they do big poos and, also they steal your chips and they make such noise and they, plastic bags with rubbish in them just become, their favorite thing to attack.
Well, funny, you're talking about Birmingham. You worked here for a while in the 70s on Tiswas. That was filmed in the
Yes.
Birmingham
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, I used to love going to Birmingham. Hello, Seal. Lovely to see you. I loved Birmingham. I loved the people. It was great. We did Tiswas, which was a complete anarchistic children's program, and it was a strange thing because I was working most of the time in the West End, and on a Friday night, a car would come and drive me up overnight up to Birmingham after 2 shows on Friday, and then I'd meet them all in the bar of the hotel next to the studio, and on the back of beer mats they'd decide what the program was going to be the next morning. And it was anarchy. It was amazing. At first, the first time I ever did it, my back seized up with fear, but then afterwards I got used to it, and when it went wrong, that was the best bit. Like you'd be doing a sketch, say, and suddenly the cameraman by mistake go to the guest, so you'd rush back and fight the camera and bring it back and finish the sketch, or you'd attack the guest for interrupting your sketch. There was all that wonderful improvisation live, but I never saw it because it didn't go out in London for the first couple of years I was on it, and so I would then finish the show live, get on the train back to London, do 2 shows that night and Saturday, and then collapse on Sunday. Then a few years later, a year or so later, I was in Nottingham. I was doing a play there, and I walked around the street, and suddenly a whole pile of skinheads came around the street, and they saw me, and they all roared. And I thought, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm going to be, mugged, beaten up. And they all roared, and they came up to me and said, oh, Sue, we love you. We love Tiswas. Here, have a chip. And it was like, and I didn't realize that there was a great fan base. And there was another time when I actually cycled from Oxford to Wills Wells in Wales once. I did a whole big cycle thing there. And on the way, suddenly, through the Midlands, children would see me and start chasing after me. And I had no idea. I had no idea how big it was.
Have they ever done a TV reunion with you all?
Yes, we did one. I think 25 years, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
We've had these chats many times before on the stage, and I realised this morning there's one of your stories that I've never talked to you about, and it's my all-time favourite Doctor Who story, the Happiness Patrol.
Yeah.
I love that show. It's very much Marmite of Doctor Who. You either love it or hate it. I just wondering what your opinion is of it, where it stands in the shows that you did.
Well, I was kind of, in a way, disappointed, but doubly disappointed when at the end of it, I discovered that they were going to make it in black and white, and that they were going to use film noir kind of shooting, angles, and when I was so disappointed they hadn't done that. Because my sons, who were of, the young teenagers at that time, they were discovering black and white films, and they were getting into it. And I knew that because we'd gone the way the history of television had gone, we'd fallen in love with color and then forgotten black and white. But suddenly it was, people were rediscovering it because it has a wonderful quality. And so I was so disappointed that they didn't do that. So I recommend that people should turn their telly to black and white and then move the telly around like that and that to get that, the kind of and I think it would have worked much better. I thought the sets were all right, but the color in black and white, they would have looked much more real. Does that make sense? I think so. I was very disappointed in it for that reason. Although I like the politics of it. Because it was a kind of a gentle anti-Thatcher kind of satire. It was mixed feelings. And also, I sang on it. Oh God, how embarrassing! I did it my way. Was that what I sang, if I remember rightly?
Yes, yeah, I think it was. You were saying that people sort of fell out of love with black and white, but clearly you haven't. It's something that's influenced your career and performances. Slapstick is very much an important part of your performance.
Well, yes, silent movie. I mean, I grew up. I think the other day I was talking to someone who about my abilities to be a kind of. I should have been born in the the beginning of the last century, being at the right age for silent movies, because I was very comfortable with that. But I have never trained. I've never been to drama school. I've never been, and I wondered why at the age of 27, when I was mistook for an actor, that I suddenly had this baggage of skills. I don't know where they came from. And then I thought, when during the war, my mother lived with me in a town, Dunoon, and they had 2 cinemas, and every 2 nights they changed the films. And I think I know my mother went every night to the cinema because she was lonely, because she was a war widow, and so she'd take this little baby along with her. And at that time they'd be showing, all those films, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Ben Turpin, all that stuff. And I was obviously soaking it in, because there it was when I was 27. Suddenly, I had no idea all that 27 years of carrying this baggage of skills around with me, and suddenly luck allowed me to make use of them. And I played Buster Keaton, and I played Stan Laurel, and I played other people, silent movie greats.
Well, there's one more thing I'd like to ask you about. And I'm going to shamelessly ask you a question that I've asked you before on stage, but it's one of my favourite stories, so indulge me. When you were working with the Ken Campbell Roadshow, you told me a fantastic story about an incident that almost got you chased out of Ireland.
Yes. Well, you see, we were doing this sketch show, and I was a stunt man, and I had to do every stunt. That was part of the comedy, because I was the smallest, skinniest, weakest looking little chap, surrounded by all these strong guys, and I was the one banging nails on my nose, exploding bombs in my chest, lying on beds of nails, having bricks broken on my chest as well, lots of wonderful mad setting light to my head, all that kind of stuff. But also we did escapology, and I was in that. I was in my underpants, and I had to be examined by young ladies from the audience to see if I had any protection, any stiffening, or any keys or something like that, to get through the locks. So that was part of the fun of it. And then I was put into a mail bag, chained, handcuffed, and put into the mail bag, and it was locked with great locks, and I had to escape from it. And when I came out, I used to come out triumphantly, holding the handcuffs and the chains and the padlocks and everything, but also my underpants. And that was just a quick flash, really, and surprise, and went back in again. Anyway, and in those days, in the 60s, if you didn't take your clothes off, you didn't get a job in the theatre, as everyone was doing. Thank you, old Calcutta. So, but then this created furor in Ireland, because there was a headline: Sylvester McCoy breaks the penis barrier in Dublin, and Yeats had turned in his grave, and we got praised all over Europe and Britain, great reviews. But in Ireland, we got appalling reviews. We were in a pub the next day, really depressed, and someone came into the pub and says, "And are you those fellas that are on there at the Abbey?" And we said, "Yes." I said, "Don't worry about the reviews." He said, "The word's out, it's a great show." And we packed them out. We packed them out so much, they had to have people sitting on the stairs. But at the same time, we were told that we should plan our escape route from Ireland. And then one night, the Secret Service came in, and the barman knew them. That's Dublin, I love it. And he said, "Oh, the Secret Service are in, you better watch." So we didn't do the naughty bit. And they were very disappointed. But we never got kicked out of Ireland.
Well, we're nearly at the end of our interview. Thank you very much, Rick. giving up some of your time today. It's been brilliant.
My pleasure. Yeah.
The last thing I'm going to ask, I'm always afraid to ask this, because this new era of Zoom interviews means we can all be a lot more casual. I've done some of these interviews in my shorts or in my pajama bottoms. As long as I've got something smart on top, it's fine. So, dare I ask a Scotsman, but what are you wearing where the camera can't see?
I'm wearing a big dressing gown.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, no, I mean, because I think being in a medieval village, I can go out into the village like this. I can bring out your dead. You know.
Perfect. Sylvester, thank you once again. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always.
Right.
Have a great rest of your day, and and enjoy the relaxation that is lockdown.
Yes, I'm surprisingly enjoying it. Anyway, good luck to everybody, and God bless all those people on the front line who are working in the hospitals and in the care homes and in the shops and in the ambulances and in the rubbish, collecting our rubbish. Well, and also people who've come from all over the world, working from every nations around the world, working in our national health, helping us fight this terrible, terrible thing.
Thank you very much.